Hello, and welcome to this edition of Fulton Justice. I'm your host, Yolanda Lewis, District Court Administrator for the Atlanta Judicial Circuit. This program is dedicated to providing you with resources, information, and a closer look at how our justice system works for you. Today's show features the work of the Fulton County Family Division. You will hear about our advocacy programs and services designed to help families in crisis. This show is also dedicated to providing specific information to help those who may be victims or those who are supporting individuals who are experiencing the perils of violence. Up next, we'll talk to the Fulton County Superior Court's Family Division's Director, Attorney Robin Cogswell. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Fulton Justice. The Family Division began in 1998 as a pilot project designed to provide comprehensive approaches to helping families in crisis and improving case processing for domestic relations cases. Currently, the Family Division is a permanent staple in the Superior Court, funded by Fulton County. The program handles thousands of calls, walk-ins, and manages more than 66,000 cases each year. Joining us now is the Fulton County Superior Court Family Division Director, Ms. Robin Cogswell. Welcome to the program today.
Thank you for inviting me, Ms. Lewis.
So let's talk a little bit about the Family Division. I know that Fulton County is the only court across the state that has a Family Division. Tell us a little bit about what the Family Division does and how it's set up.
Yes, Ms. Lewis, thank you for asking me that question. First, I want to say that the cases that become before the Family Division fall under Georgia's domestic relations laws. Cases such as divorces, child support, child visitation, legitimation, all types of those cases come before the Family Division. The Family Division is comprised of 3 Superior Court judges who all the cases come before. The judicial officers are also part of the Family Division and help support the Family Division judges in case processing and case management. As a director of the Family Division, I manage the administration staff, and we provide case processing support to the Family Division judges and also direct services to the public.
Okay, so let's talk about, one of the things I want to mention is that we have 20 judges on our Superior Court bench, and we have 3 judges who are dedicated to doing nothing but Family Division cases, and that makes the program unique in itself. But tell us a little bit about why the Family Division in Superior Courts are so unique.
The Family Division is unique in one aspect in particular is our one family, one judge rule. Essentially, what that means is that all family law related matters will become before one judge. Therefore, it avoids confusion and avoids multiple judges making multiple decisions on the same family.
So it ensures that the family decisions are made by a single person or single judge instead of having multiple judges just hearing cases as we do sometimes in criminal cases.
That is correct. Also, what is unique about the Family Division, again, is our use of judicial officers who are appointed magistrates for the court. And they assist the Family Division in making sure that the cases are processed timely by holding status conferences. The other unique factor is the actual community services that we offer to the public. Our Family Law Information Center and also our one-stop office.
So I want to ask 2 specific questions. Tell us what a status conference is for folks who don't know exactly what that term means. So can you tell us a little bit about what a status conference is?
Yes, a status conference is a meeting that is facilitated by the judicial officer. And actually it brings the parties together to try to resolve issues. And hopefully if the issues and people come together and determine the legal issues of the case and resolve those, there'll be no need for a trial. We have 30-day status conferences, 60-day status conferences, and 120-day status conferences if necessary, and all focusing on resolving the legal issues before the court.
Okay, so let's talk about the actual track that a domestic relations case that comes through the Family Division goes through. So can you walk us through what happens with a domestic relations case as it comes into the Family Division?
Sure. At the time the complaint is filed, what we do is a related case check. Again, if you remember me mentioning the one family, one judge rule, we want to ensure that if there's a new case, if there's a judge handling an existing case for that same family, that case is actually transferred, and ensuring that, again, that one judge is handling all the family law matters that pertain to that particular family. Also, at that time, they are giving a 30-day status conference schedule, which the parties will have to prepare for. The actual opposing party to the case will have to be served with a complaint, and both parties will have to come to the 30-day status conference, again, facilitated by the judicial officer to help resolve the legal issues of the case.
So if I'm a layperson or a citizen with a domestic relations case and I want to access services in the family division, tell me what those services would be and how do I access those services as part of the court system?
Yes, the Family Division offers direct services to the public. The Family Law Information Center is at 136 Pryor Street, the Justice Tower building, the 7th floor. We accept walk-ins, and that particular facility is designed to help those individuals who want to represent themselves in their domestic relations case. We offer the legal forms for them to file. We provide free notary services, and they can also schedule a free 30-minute consultation with one of our attorneys or attend a free monthly legal clinic. The other service that we offer is for those individuals that seek a protective order from family violence or stalking. They could come to, again, 136 Pryor Street, Suite C as in Charlie, 826, and they can actually fill out a petition for a protective order. We have the paperwork. We provide opportunities on a daily basis for individuals to get emergency protective orders. We have hearings scheduled at 11 a.m., 1 p.m., and 3 p.m. And we ask individuals to get there an hour and a half before the hearing so they can complete the paperwork. And we will actually escort them over to the judge, and the judge at that time will determine whether or not an emergency hearing, emergency protective order rather, is necessary.
So I know that we provide a lot of services in Superior Court. Are there any fees for the services? I know you talked about the free legal services, the 30 minutes that can be scheduled, or any of the other services. Are there fees for those services that are provided?
Ms. Lewis, no. There are no fees for services that we provide. However, there is a fee for one of the a packet of legal documents for any particular petition that they want to file, and that is merely for a production course of $2.
So let's just talk about, I know that the Family Division is doing a lot of outreach right now. Can you talk about some of the outreach that you're participating in right now to reach out to communities?
Yes, our goal this year is to reach out to various communities within Fulton County and make sure they understand the services that we offer within the Family Division. We've had the Latino Hispanic Outreach Day. We're also engaging the Georgia Hispanic Bar Association, and I'm also looking to engage other bar associations in having a day at the court where they can observe our domestic violence court, walk around and tour our facility and learn about our services.
It's wonderful, and you are doing a great job, and we appreciate it. When we return, we'll speak with the Family Division Judge, Gary Alembik. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. The effects of domestic violence in Fulton County are devastating. These cases demand significant and immediate attention by the judiciary. In 1985, a Fulton County judge presided over a landmark case, State v. Daniel Stephen Warren, to protect women from specific forms of marital domestic violence. Since then, there have been dramatic changes in women's rights and domestic family laws. With us today is Judge Gary Alembik from the Family Division at the Fulton County Superior Court. Welcome, Judge Alembik.
Thank you, Yolanda. Let me just say to you
Yes.
that this is a very important subject, and I appreciate your focusing attention on this. I don't think we spend enough time focusing attention on domestic violence. Domestic violence is an issue that is not talked about very often, so we appreciate your taking the time to do that.
Well, we appreciate you being here. And let's just get into the whole conversation about domestic violence. And I want to specifically talk first about Fulton County's Family Violence Court before we get into some of the other things that we're going to talk about today. Can you talk a little bit about what our Family Violence Court does for folks that are coming in with domestic relations issues of that nature?
Sure. Specifically, my job is to certainly afford protection to victims of domestic violence. We have established a system here in Fulton County that makes it very easy for self-represented victims to come into court in order to establish violence and seek and obtain a protective order. And the protective order affords protection. That's the primary purpose. It also affords the victim the opportunity to have exclusive use of a home, temporary custody of children, temporary use and possession of furnishings, that sort of thing. We find that these victims are often controlled by the abuser financially. So our primary purpose is to afford protection and also to afford them some financial relief and security to enable them to get back on their feet.
Perfect. And let's talk a little bit about protective orders. Can you tell us exactly what a protective order is and then what type of protective orders are afforded to individuals who need them?
Sure. Protective orders emanate from either family violence or stalking. We have statutes that regulate both. Family violence affords a protected class of folks the opportunity for protection. Those protected classes typically fall within the realm of husband and wife, former husband and wife, intimate partners that may have roomed together. It affords protection to folks that are in need of protection that emanate from family violence. We also have a stalking statute that is broader that affords protection to folks that have been the victims of harassment, intimidating behavior, typically a pattern of intimidating behavior, and they need protection too, so the statute affords them the opportunity to have the same kind of protection as those that are seeking protection under the Family Violence Act.
And I think people have heard two different terms. You hear the term protective order, and then sometimes you'll hear the term temporary protective order. How long do protective orders last, and what's the difference between the two?
Our law affords the opportunity for the victim to come into court, and on the very same day, the court will enter a temporary protective order. We refer to that as an ex parte order. The ex parte order has a 30-day duration. The beauty of an ex parte order is that the victim can come in the very day they desire to seek protection, and they'll get an order. That order does not afford the court the opportunity to hear from the respondent. So we set a court date within 30 days of the entry of the ex parte order, and then it's a new day. The petitioner has the burden of proof. They must establish that there is the basis for the entry of a protective order either through stalking or through family violence. The court hears from the respondent, which is different than the initial hearing that takes place only with the petitioner. And then following the hearing, the court makes a decision and enters a protective order.
And so as a judge, you have a very difficult decision because you have to hear both sides. What are some of the factors that go into you making a decision as to whether a person will be afforded a protective order?
Well, we need to look to very specific issues. Is there a history of family violence? Was there family violence that led to the specific filing that initiated the action? And then the key also is to determine, is there a future possibility that violence may occur? And frankly, sometimes as a judge, we need to be aware that there are self-represented folks that can't express themselves, that are nervous. They're in the room with their abuser. So we have to sort of weigh through all that. And frankly, some of our decisions are intuitive. We after hearing many of these cases, we have a real sense of you know, the things that we need to look out for to determine whether a protective order needs to be entered.
Right. And so you see a lot of domestic violence victims, but you see a lot of children as well. Can you talk about how that factor plays into how the court will have to respond to the victim?
Well, first of all, needless to say, the victim is typically the petitioner, assuming that they establish their burden of proof, but the real victims often are the children because they're caught in between.
Okay.
And often victims are helpless. And the children, they can sometimes not even protect their own children. So the purpose of entering a protective order is to afford protection to the petitioner, and also to set out certain parenting plans that'll protect the children. Typically in a protective order, there's no contact, so we have to be careful about establishing a parenting plan for the respondent, that is basically the perpetrator, the abuser, so he or she can have access to their children, but we need to fashion it in a way that protects the victim.
Right. And lastly, let's talk about the batterer. In these instances, are there any requirements that are placed on the batterers as a part of what we do every day in Superior Court?
Absolutely. We're a bit idealistic. We hope that when we enter these orders that we're not only affording protection to the victim, but we'd also like to do something to maybe prevent future violence. So we require the respondent or the abuser to participate in a family violence intervention program. It's a series of programs that they must participate in. We have many compliance hearings to ensure that they are participating in these family violence intervention programs. But they teach the abuser maybe to stay away from the hot buttons that may lead to the abuse. They teach the abuser maybe how to deal with the anxiety that maybe brings about this abusive behavior. And I have to say, in these tough times, in these tough economies, we have lots of folks that are under a lot of pressure. We have abuse, drug abuse issues, alcohol abuse issues, and I think all of these sometimes lead to domestic violence.
Right. Well, Judge, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all of the work that you do in our courts. We
Thank
really
you very
appreciate
much
it.
for having me.
When we return, we'll speak with attorney Muriel Montia from the Family Division Law Information Center. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. As part of the Fulton County Superior Court's Family Division, the Family Law Information Center was developed to assist people who wish to represent themselves in domestic legal matters or educate themselves about domestic issues. With us today is attorney Muriel Montia from the Family Law Information Center. Welcome, Attorney Montia.
Welcome, thank you.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the services that you provide as an attorney in the Family Law Information Center. I know a lot of people come in and need legal help because we don't have, as in criminal cases, this assignment of an attorney if you're a pro se litigant. So please tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
As an attorney for FLIC, which is short for the Family Law Information Center, we provide consultations, free 30-minute consultation, as well as conduct legal clinics. And they're both designed to help the pro se litigant or the individual who wishes to represent themselves before the family courts.
And so how does someone actually qualify to be a part of the services that you offer at FLIC?
It's a very simple process. They would either call or come by the clinic or Family Law Information Center to do an intake form. Once they complete the intake form and it's determined that there's no conflicts, that simply means that we haven't met with the other party, the adverse party, and they come in and we determine there's not a conflict, then the center will schedule an appointment for them to come in.
And so is there any assistance in completing the intake paperwork that is needed to begin the process?
Yes, certain. Well, the intake is very simple, so the staff there will help them with completing the intake form.
And let's talk about the type of specific services that you provide each day. What type of questions or what type of assistance do you provide to individuals who come into the office?
We help them complete the documents or the legal forms that's necessary to start the complaint or petition in court. We also give them advice on how to represent themselves in court. We outline the general procedure for presenting any case before the family court.
And so people who are what we call self-represented litigants, we also hear the term pro se as well. So can you just kind of explain what pro se means, and then what type of rights are afforded to those people who are considered to be self-represented litigants?
Yes. Pro se simply is the process where you go into court without an attorney and you represent yourself. Now, our forms are designed so that they're very simple, fill in the blank, check the box, so anyone can simply go in and fill out the forms. What we do is when they come in to us for a consultation or they visit the legal clinic is that we assist them with preparing the forms. And they're afforded the same rights as any attorney or anyone else would before the courts. In Fulton County, the courts are very friendly when it comes to pro se litigants. So the same process would apply to them as to any other attorney.
And so there are forms that you assist in completing with the pro se litigants or the self-represented litigants. Are those forms unique to Fulton County, or can those forms be used in other counties throughout Georgia?
The forms comply to the laws of the state of Georgia, so the forms can be modified. It's simple enough just to mark out Fulton County and write in the appropriate county, so they can be used in any county in the state of Georgia.
And so do you see that often, because people may have cases in other jurisdictions as well, maybe neighboring counties, so do you see the use of forms across the jurisdictions?
Yes, all the time. Most times when they come to see us initially, they're not sure where they should file the forms, and we advise them where to file them and that they can indeed use our forms.
Okay, so can you give us really just an overview of filing a complaint in Superior Court, specifically as it relates to domestic relations cases?
Yes, I can. Generally, there's a petition or complaint that they will complete, and that's simple, fill in the blank, check the box, and we give them guidance and directions on completing that. Then you file the paperwork in the Superior Court of the appropriate county. You work with the Sheriff Department for the appropriate county to get the person served. That means the adverse party or the other party that you're filing against. Then you show up for your court dates.
Okay, and so tell us a little bit about the type of cases that you actually assist with.
Predominantly, we have a lot of divorces, name change, child issues like child support, custody, legitimation. We do a lot of child support, mostly anything that's under the domestic laws, family laws. We have the forms to help assist the litigant.
We've been talking about domestic violence as part of today's show. Can we talk about a little bit about your ability to assist individuals who may be victims of domestic violence?
Well, what we do is when they come in, we would direct them to go to the one-stop because they can definitely get more assistance there. But we can give them guidance on what they can do if they later wanted to file for a divorce or get custody of the children, and other resources that they can go to get assistance.
And so are there multiple attorneys that work with you, or are you the single attorney that will be providing the services in the
No, we
division?
have two other attorneys that's there to assist.
Okay. And are there any other organizations that you work with to help provide legal services?
That we give resources, and the resources that we provide is a simple handout in FLIC, Family Law Information Center, where the person or individual can contact the resources such as nonprofits, legal aid, or Atlanta Volunteer Lawyers Foundation.
And so can any person call your office and actually get a referral to other legal services?
We don't give referrals. Other than the simple handout for resources, we don't do referrals.
Thank you for that information, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Please stay tuned. Welcome back. Today we welcomed various representatives from the Family Division here in Fulton County to discuss domestic relations matters and efforts to protect individuals who may be victims of domestic violence. While some people certainly view the courts as adversarial, it's important to acknowledge that the Family Division provided vital services to assist more than 43,000 families last year, some of which were relationships where domestic violence was a familiar occurrence. These services assist citizens with navigating the judicial process and providing personal attention with matters such as legal advice by licensed attorneys and counseling for victims. If you are a victim of domestic violence or need more information about local services offered in Superior Court, contact the Family Division at 404-612-2789 or the Fulton County Family Violence Task Force at 404-612-2579. Special thanks to all of our guests today, and thank you for tuning in to this edition of Fulton Justice. I'll see you next time.